Looking at and the numbers, some of the numbers that were being posted when it comes to net worth were very shocking. Amosh, what were you seeing as some of the net worth that was being listed by some of your peoples?
A merely cool 4 billion Kenya shillings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that comes from, stocks, investments, rental property, just, small change.
Attorney General.
And 33 years of being in, I guess, government,
Mm-hmm.
there was, I think I saw, there was someone else who was at 900 million. Was that Duale?
I think Eden Duale.
I think there was Duale at 900. Muturi was at 700.
700. Amiga.
Yes.
Modest.
Oh, modest. I think he said modest.
700 million.
700 million Kenya shillings.
Then there was the D minus.
Aisha Jumwa.
I think she was at 200 or was she at 100?
I think it was 400. I could be wrong. Yeah, Aisha Jumwa.
I think she was Alice Wahome.
No, she was 100 and something.
She said 100.
Okay.
And then the question that I would ask is how is this calculated? Is it are they doing it the correct way? Because it's like in my assessment, that's what I kept hearing. It's like in my assessment, I'm worth X.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why don't you bring me that list and then let me look at it?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll tell you what you're worth. But hey, what do I know? Because there's nobody who's actually going in and saying, okay, this is what it's supposed to be. Because it's really supposed to be, what are your assets and what is your whatever's, and then that's your net, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and some people are already doing subtractions. They're like, oh, I already owe like 400 million or 300 million, so I'm not counting that 300 million I owe for a loan. But maybe the property that's pertaining to the 300 is worth 500. I'm not counting it because it's still part of the 300.
Mika,
I'm still paying a mortgage.
Let me get your thoughts on this. I mean, I don't know if you've watched but I'm sure like in the
I watched day one, and then after that I was just disgusted. I was like, this is
we want Mika, tell us what you think, with the hustlers being
number one, I think that those words have been watered down. Those guys are worth more than what they are saying. Because if you just look at some of their lifestyles, then you'll be like, yeah, they are definitely worth more than what they're saying. Yeah, because if somebody like the one who said he's worth 700 million, and you count the amount of property that they worth, convert that property to how much it's worth, or the companies that they're owning, and some of them didn't even mention the companies they own. They were just saying houses and stocks. Nobody will mention or business. They were not saying the business they're owning. So for me, I felt it's the hustler narrative was a narrative that we used to market and to campaign, and it brought in a lot of people. But the only hustling these guys are going to hustle is that hustle that people don't like being associated with. That hustle, in America, if you call somebody a hustler, they can kill you because basically you are a thief. You're somebody who look for money in any way. And I think that's the hustling that you're going to see from these are the kind of hustlers that you're talking about. If we're going to call them hustlers, but if you're calling them hustlers in terms of struggling and working like every other Kenyan mwananchi, no. And I don't know what people were actually expecting, because these are the same politicians, they just change brands. So there's really no difference. Like, I hope that they work. I hope they improve the country, because if they work and the country works well, it means Kenyans are living well, right?
Yes.
We have interest in Kenyans. I hope they do. I wish them success.
And they keep more money in my pocket.
Yeah, but I'm honestly, it just shows you the difference of how things are in that country, right? The country is, there's you, the hustler, the voter, and there's them, the hustlers, the billionaires. There is no single common person in any of those positions. They didn't go and look for a professor let's say a professor in who's done theses and written books in urban planning to be in charge of roads and transportation or planning, right? They didn't look for somebody who is an SME, an expert, who's worked in a portfolio of a big investment company to deal with finance or something like that. They didn't go to look for somebody who's head of research and medicine in a hospital to come and be the one in charge of health. Like basically everybody there has made it. So, if you took a GM, or not even, if you took somebody who's a manager from a Fortune 500 company and put him into a CS position to run you, we would say that's a hustler. Like they've worked hard to that position. But another politician who's a millionaire, a multi-millionaire at that, there's no hustlers government there.
Wow.
Omosh, Maoni.
Mika, kind of alluded to it. It's basically same faces, different. I guess it's a different leading cast member.
Right.
But it's basically the same.
Same forest, different monkeys.
Same supporting cast, different leading, different person in the lead, but the supporting cast is the same. So we expect the result to be different in terms of presentation of this play. Let's see. I think the jury is still out. It's honestly too early to say anything. But based upon what we have seen in the first 20 days, I don't know, man. This is it's
20 days. So I'll give it.
To me, I'm like, wow, the hammer's coming down hard. Because if you're gonna say that in the first 100 days I'm gonna do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you're also claiming that by December 1 we're gonna have 50 billion sitting in an account somewhere, and we're gonna have people ready to come and get loans, which by the way now they're paying interest on, and they were not supposed to be paying interest, or at least that's what it was sold to the folks on the ground, that there would be no interest. But now there's interest that's going to be paid. The question that I would want to know is that even if there's interest that's being paid on these loans, which institutions are going to be part of, the distribution of this money? Or is this going to be spread out amongst all banks? Or is it going to be spread out in certain banks that are affiliated with person X, who is going to be the person who's eating this interest on this money that the government's bringing in, but who's eating the interest? Because does the interest go to the government? And if it goes to the government, where is this interest being reassigned to? Is it going to back into the hustler fund, or is that interest going to go into the government to be distributed in another area, or is that interest just going to disappear somewhere? But again, first 100 days, we'll see if there's supposed to be some movement. December 1, let's see if they're going to hit that mark, that date. I don't see where they're going to get 50B. Again, what do I know? There's also, a lot of things that are now, that they're trying to bring around. KRA is now running around trying to get landlords to pay taxes on homes where they're renting out. Well, the way they intend to do that is to have KRA agents walk around from property to property, knock on the doors and blah, 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 and actually, probably ask the guy at the gate, soldier, boss, kina nani wanakomboa nyumba hapa? Oh, number 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 15. Kwanza hizo wako ngambo sijui nini. Okay, sawa. Then they give letters to the guy and say, okay, ndio hizi mabarua peana kwa hizo nyumba. Well, guess what? Once those things come in and the landlord gets it, it reflects back on the renter. So how are you helping the renter?